ahoy there, and welcome back to Build with the Boys. We now have issue 100 of Hachette's Build the Titanic. It feels like a milestone, this one, but not really. I mean, we're not 50% through or 2/3 through. 100's just a number in this one, unfortunately, but there's something grand about 100. It feels like we've come a long way, and we have. I mean, we're over 2 years into this one now, but we are coming to the end. So we've got 40 left. So we should, in theory, if you are a subscriber, you should receive your last delivery around about the last week of October, around about October 30th, 31st, very early November. So that's when we'll be done. So by the end of this year, we will be done. Now, what comes next? So in this one, we are finishing that piece of hull, which is a mirror of what we did in 98. But what comes next? And I can see that it's put a bee in a few people's bonnets, but I think there's some logic to this. So due to come next is the model support parts, an electric cable and screws. And it's this one here. So that is ultimately the stand this is going to sit on. Now, I understand that, why have you got that? I don't understand. But I think it's because this is going to bolt to it. I don't think this is just going to rest on that stand. I think I know we are. I can see the holes in the hull. We're going to screw this to the stand. So it would make sense that goes on first, because if you're going to put all the other stuff on top of it, well, you're never going to be able to screw it to the stand, are you? Because decks and engines and whatnot are going to cover up access to it. So it makes sense that we put that on now. That's where we're going. I mean, there's nowhere else for us to go. We've got the stern of the ship left to do, but the actual hull itself, you can see that's going to enclose fairly soon. So we've got a piece of keel that needs to go in. I would imagine that's coming next month. I don't know if it is or not. I would imagine it is. It would make sense to me that in 101 we get the first part of the stand, 102 we probably get the second part. If we don't, we'll get the keel and get the stand in 103. It is going to be weird because your ship will be, put a lot of weight on the front. So if that is the case, I would advise don't do it. So if in 101 you get one stand, if in 102 you're not getting the opposing one, I wouldn't put 101 on until you do. Because you don't want this thing, especially if you're a weekly subscriber, you don't want this thing putting all that weight on there. You just don't. I mean, the other thing you could do, I suppose, is turn the hull upside down. But again, I wouldn't particularly recommend that. But I don't know. But that makes sense. This is going to screw to the stand. This is not something you can lift off and put on that stand. I don't think. I might be completely wrong. And it might be that these things aren't screw holes. It just sits on, lugs. I don't know. Until it turns up, we won't know. But I would imagine that is why we're getting that stand this early, because it's going to screw to it. And then what? Well, once the hull is done, the majority of the decks are done. We do have the very, the stern of the ship. We've got to do that. But it seems like we're going to get to the point where we're going to start assembling this. We have to. There's nowhere else to go. So we're going to have to put the engine in first. That's going to have to happen. So I'd imagine very soon we're going to be putting the engine in and wiring it up. We also need the main power supply. We still don't know what that is or where it's going. Is this going to be a bunch of D batteries? Is this going to be mains powered? Don't know. None of us do at this point. So that's got to come at some point so we can start to wire it all together. Then we're going to apply the decks. Then I think for the last, I don't know, be it 20, 16, 24, I don't know, issues are going to be all of the detailing, because there is a lot of detailing to go on this. So we're going to have to do the rigging, we're going to have to do the ladders, we're going to have to do the aerials, the masts. There's a lot to do once we put this together. And I would imagine this goes together before we start adding those elements. I don't know. This is just speculation at this point. I don't know. I can tell you now for a fact, I'm not looking forward to doing rigging. That's going to suck. My eyes are old and yeah. So there's going to be a lot of profanity during that one, I would imagine. But anyway, I'm rambling. Without further ado, let's get this one open. Let's get this one built. At the end, we'll be on our Titanic talk. I'm telling you, as I promised, way back 2 years ago, issue 1, a personal story of mine about the Titanic in Southampton. So let's get this one open. Let's get this one built. So this is the piece we get inside issue 100. Already brought my hull up, ready to go for this. It is the opposing part. There we go. It's got a lovely curve to it, this. Really, the curves are beautiful on this ship. They really are. But that's what we've got. This is the way we're going in, and we're going to be putting in 5 of the LM screws, which are going to require the Allen key. Right, so let's get this one ready. Okay, now this one here is not going to have the same give as the other side. The other side wasn't firm, so I'd imagine this one's going to be a little bit snug to... Yeah, and I'd be right. This is going to be fun. Right. Wow. Okay, I'm going to have to move this to get this in. We got it. Wasn't easy, but we got it. I mean, it really does need a good firm sort of snap into place. But we got there. So let's get this first one in. So I'm going in the middle first, just to kind of hold this in place. There we go. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put one in here and one in here, and then we're going to put one there and one there. So I'm going to get those done and we will take a look. So that is that one all screwed in and done. Nice and simple. I mean, I say that, the Allen bolts are a bloody nightmare, but there you go. So that is how we are now looking. Look at my beautiful girl. Look at that. Come on. This is, there you go. That's what 2 years gets you. Patience is paying off. It's looking beautiful, right? I mean, look at this. Look at this. Ah. So we are going to have that piece of keel to go in there at some point. I would imagine that's coming sooner rather than later. And we do have to work on the stern. We really have to work on the stern. I believe I've got pictures of the stern. Now, bear in mind, these would have been from the prototype. So don't lose your minds if you see something you're not happy with. These were the prototype pictures, but this gives a bit of an idea of how the stern's going to look. These are the original pictures of the model. So it gives you a bit of an idea of what we're going to do. But don't, if you've just seen something, oh my God, this is the prototype, relax, breathe. It's okay, it's going to be fine. You'll have a lovely Titanic, don't worry. Speaking of Titanic models, a big shout out to a friend of mine, Rob, and his son Bobby, that have just completed a very nice model of the Titanic. I believe it's a cubic foam model. It looks really nice, it lights up, and they nailed it. Take a look at this. Nice one, boys. It's looking great. If you are just sticking around for the build instructions, thank you for stopping by. That is it for this month. We will be back mid-February with more Titanic, where we will be doing, as I said, we'll be doing the first stand for this, the first part of the stand. I would imagine the second one's coming as well. I would imagine, but in the world of partworks, who knows? Having a look at this through down the hull, I can see we're going to have to put a lot of support beams as well to support the deck. Now, the smart in me is saying don't put it together at the moment, Scott. That's going to be a problem if you do. But the beast in me is saying put the decks on and let's have a look at it. Let's put the decks on and have a look at it. So this is very, very, very crudely put together, as you can see here. This is just, and there, very prominently there. This is just to see how we're looking. We're looking good. We're looking real good. Yeah. That's how we're looking. We're getting there, right? We're really getting there. I've not put the engine in. I did go mad. But we are, we're certainly getting there. Oh, you beautiful girl. I can't wait to see this all lit up. I can't wait to see this finished. I really can't, but wow. How cool is that? I really like it. It does highlight to me certain things that I'm like, okay, well, that's missing. Well, I've knocked a piece off. And also I can see from my crane, 2 of the wires that we built in the crane's last issue have come loose. I'm like, God damn it. You know what? I'll address those later on, because when this how many more times is that going to happen before this goes into the case? So I'm like, you know what? It can stay as is for now. But that's looking gorgeous, right? That's looking really nice. I can't wait to see the stern. It's looking so nice. It's looking so nice. We've still got loads more to do. I mean, seeing like this, you can see, like, okay, that needs to go in and that needs to go in, and we need railings here, and we need mast here. There's so much still to do. There really is. But we've only got 40 issues to do it in. So I would imagine we are going to move like a racehorse over the next ones. We really are. Because that's just going to, before you know it, we're going to be at the end. So it's exciting times, really exciting times. If you just stick around for build instructions, thank you for stopping by. If you're sticking around for our Titanic talk, well, I told you way back in issue 1 that I'd tell you 2 personal stories, 50 and 100. 50 we did, I told you about the weird theme park ride I was very briefly involved in. And at 100 is my story of Southampton. So when I was 18 years old, friend of mine, the internet was in its infancy, believe it or not, and MSN. And remember MSN? It was like a messenger. A friend of mine had started talking to a girl who lived in Southampton, and they'd been exchanging messages for about, I don't know, 6 months. Anyway, they decided they were going to meet, and it was very, Gavin and Stacey. And he said to me, "Will you come with me?" And I was like, "I don't want to." I don't want to. That was my standpoint on it. No, I don't want to. I'm not coming with you. I don't want to. But he begged, and I reluctantly agreed to go. And we went to Southampton, and we had a really crap night out because I was very much third wheel, and it sucked. It wasn't a good night out, right? It just wasn't. But I had a bunch of drinks and I enjoyed myself. Anyway, further into the evening at the nightclub we were at, the girl that he was meeting, her ex-boyfriend turns up. And he's ready to fight. Now, the difference is, I'm hammered drunk. My friend isn't because he was driving. They get into, fisticuffs. The police arrive, arrest them both, and they're spending the night in the cells, leaving me with no means of getting home. I was in Southampton. And I don't mind telling you, I live about 3 hours away from Southampton. And it was 2:00 in the morning. So where am I going, right? So I'm like, oh, fantastic. So I'm just stranded in Southampton. So I go to the police station. I'm like, can you arrest me? And then somebody said, well, because then I can just sleep in the cells. No, we're not going to do that. I was like, okay. So I thought, right, fine. I'll sleep on the bench in your waiting room. Yeah, that wasn't going to happen either. They had like a metal bench that had arms in it, so you couldn't lie across it. And if you've ever been in the waiting room or reception of a police station, not the quietest place on a Friday night. So I'm like, ugh. So I go wandering on the off chance maybe there's a B&B open. There wasn't. I go wandering through a very deserted Southampton city centre, and got plenty of money, but no hotel, nowhere to go. What do you do at 2 a.m? I'm like, right. So I said to them, when you let them out? They said, we're not letting them out until probably, I don't know, 7, 8, 9 a.m. And I was like, geez, man. So fine. So I go to the train station. Our train's running. No, the first train is going to be leaving at around about 8:30 a.m. And I'm like, oh, fantastic. So what am I going to do for 6.5 hours in the early hours of the morning in Southampton? Drunk out of my mind. I'm like, I've had enough of this. So I go wandering. I sit down on a wall. I was a smoker at the time. And I start smoking. And I'm tired. And I lie down on the wall. I think you can guess where this is going. So the next morning, I wake up soaking wet, where like dew from the night before had rested all of my body. And I was like, oh, lovely. But the strangest thing was, as I looked across, I could see an angel staring down at me. And I thought, did I die in the night? Did I not make it? And it kind of spun me out, and there was an angel looking down at me. And I'm disorientated and hungover, and I'm like, I don't know. So I get up off the wall and I look, and I can see what it is in the distance, what this angel is. And it was this. That is the memorial in the Titanic to the engineers that stayed by their posts to keep the lights on for as long as they could for all the people trying to align, that all died at their posts. Now, I want to make it quite clear, I did not sleep on their memorial. I did not. I'll show you where I slept. I slept on the wall in front of the memorial, not on the memorial. This is where. So that's where I slept. Now, even if it's like, is that a little bit disrespectful? Not really. It was nighttime, and this is what it looked like. I wasn't, again, I'm not sleeping on their memorial. I was a good 10 foot away from it. But at nighttime, this is all I could have seen. So you see what I mean? I've just got to justify it. I can't make it clear enough. I did not desecrate a memorial and sleep on it. I slept near it. And my wallet was still there. So no one had stolen my wallet. My phone was still in my pocket. My ancient 3210 was still in my pocket. And I was safe. And I had an angel staring down at me. No one had robbed me. No one had hurt me. No one had done anything, untoward to me. And I don't know. I thought, I started reading what it was. I thought, what is this? And started reading up and I was like, oh my God, this is the, and this is what actually started my kind of fascination with Titanic, because I read all of those guys' names. I thought, you know what? If your spirit kept me safe, I'm going to honor you. So I read all the names on the wall. I read all about it. And I researched them as well. I was fascinated by this. I really was. Not only that, when the shops opened at 9 a.m., I went over and there was a Thresher. Do you remember Thresher? Thresher. And I bought a bottle of rum. And I went and left a bottle of rum on the memorial for the sailors, the engineers, for keeping me safe. And then when I met my friend, who I went to the police station to meet my friend, and they told me they weren't letting him out. And I'm like, oh, fantastic. So I thought, you know what? I love him, but goddamn, I want to go home. So I headed to the train station, and on the way, I could see more Titanic stuff. So there was Titanic stuff just all over Southampton. And this is what piqued my interest, and this is what we got him interested in Titanic. I bought a train ticket, and just as I was about to step onto the train, my friend comes running through, well, let me go. And I'm like, oh, fantastic. Got our money back for the train ticket, went home, never went to Southampton again. So that was my kind of memory of Southampton. I would like to return to Southampton, so I can see the memorial properly and a few other bits and pieces. But that is my story of the Titanic memorial. I didn't sleep on it. Can't stress that enough. I slept nowhere near it. I don't want people to think, oh my God, no, I didn't. I nearly did. I'm really glad I didn't. But in the dark, I couldn't see the thing. But it's a beautiful memorial. It really is. And it's fitting to those men. And I kind of hope the spirits of those engineers had a laugh at seeing me in my drunken, fragile state at 18 years old, and maybe watched over me that night. That's all from me for this one. We'll be back, as I said, February, with the next 4 parts of the Titanic, where we will be, I guess, at least building that stand. I don't know if we're installing it. There also comes an electric with it, and I don't know what. I'm very curious what that electric does. It looks like a gear. Don't know. We'll find out, won't we? Thanks for stopping by. Please remember to like and subscribe if you haven't yet, in a world where you can be anything at all. Just be nice. And I'll see you very, very soon for more from Bill and the Boys. Take care, and I'll see you then.